Okay, seventh chords. Now, we are familiar with triads. Triads are chords that consist of three different notes. So that would be major, minor. We've also talked about diminished. Major being 1, 3, 5, minor being 1, flat 3, 5, and diminished being 1, flat 3, flat 5. Just in order to create a complete list, let's get the three other triads as well. That would be an augmented triad. That's 1, 3 with an augmented fifth. And then there's sus2 and sus4, which means we still have our 1 and 5, but now we replace the third by either a 2 or a 4. These are pretty much all the triads we've got. So that would be, for example, C, C minor, just so you got the symbols, C diminished, C augmented, we use a plus for that one, C sus2, and C sus4. Okay. With seventh chord, we stack another third on top. We go from 1 to 3 to 5 to 7. So let's take a look at our most common seventh chords. The first would logically be the major seventh, which I typically use a triangle symbol for, which would be 1, 3, 5, 7. Then there's the dominant seventh. We will get to the dominant seventh. You see 7, 1, 3, 5 with a minor seventh. It's called a dominant seventh. We've heard the word dominant before when we're talking about functions of chords. It can be a tonic or a subdominant or a dominant. The dominant seventh was probably, I'm pretty sure, the first seventh chord to be used commonly, at least, in classical music, in European classical music. The dominant function and the dominant chord are very closely tied. When we go to the key of C major, and we take our dominant, the 5, that would be G, except 1, 3, 5. Except if you look at the 7th, if you go back from G, consider G to be the 8th, then F sharp would be the major 7th, and F would be the minor 7th. We're counting down now from the octave, which is a much easier way to get to the 7th instead of moving up all the way from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, 6 to 7. We'd rather just go down from the octave. So, in the key of G major, we got an F sharp. But in the key of C major, we don't. We got F. And now our G major chord, suddenly with the 7th added, becomes a G7 chord. The dominant function contains the dominant chord. Okay. There's another reason why that adds to the tension. Now, the most important notes here are these: the flat 7th, the minor 7th, and the major 3rd. Those really make the flavor of this chord, as we'll see in a second. The F really wants to resolve down to E, and the B really wants to resolve up to C. Both are just a semitone, a halftone away from a very important note for a tonic. So one tonic contains C, E, G. The E and the C are the most important ones there. So that's what creates the tension. We got these two notes that are really close to our tonic, but not on the tonic. And you just really want to move up, nudge that one semitone to land on our tonic, to get to breathe out. Okay, so that's how a dominant chord wants to resolve. The 7th wants to resolve down, the 3rd wants to resolve up. Now, if we get a minor 7th, then we got a minor triad with a minor 7. Okay, so that's C minor 7. Sometimes you see C minor 7 like that with a minus sign. And sometimes you see C major 7 like that, M-A-J, So, but there's, both happen, both occur. If we, however, get a minor triad with a major seventh, then you get a minor major seventh. So we're just combining the minor triad with the major seventh. That's all it really is. C minor major seventh. Okay? I'm going to do two more. There's also this chord. And if you paid attention in the intervals class, we had a diminished seventh. That's because there's a chord that uses the diminished seventh. It's called a diminished, or sometimes a diminished seventh chord, in order to differentiate it from the diminished triad. Although the diminished triad doesn't get the C play quite as much, it's pretty rare where the diminished seventh gets a lot more play, so commonly we would just write it as this. But sometimes you see people write it with a 7 after the diminished symbol, just to make sure you know it's a seventh chord and not a triad. Okay? We have a diminished fifth and a diminished seventh. If we only have one of those two, a diminished fifth but not a diminished seventh, just a basic minor seventh, then we've got a half diminished chord. Okay? Half diminished. So we get the diminished symbol and cut it in half. That's the symbol. Or sometimes people say, well, you could say it's C minor 7 with a flat 5. It happens. I think this is a lot more elegant. It uses less symbols for us to process, but people have gotten used to this, so we use that as well. These are all the seventh chords you commonly see. Now you could combine sus2 and sus4 with these chords, and as we start talking about extensions, about added notes to these chords, we will get to these two as well. But these are the seventh chords you need to know for now. Okay, so your homework assignment is going to be find out which seventh chords occur naturally within the key. Just calculate it, see which seventh needs to be added to the triads that we already have, and then figure out which seventh chord it has to be. Let me know how it went.